Another little bonus section for you. I want to talk to you about nutrition for healthy testosterone levels. So you'll remember earlier that I said that one of the key reasons why a lot of people have low testosterone is, at least in part, because so many people have bad posture because we sit down all day long. As a society, we sit down, that ruins our posture, and we now know that lousy posture equals lousy testosterone levels. Another thing that almost everybody does is, as a society in the Western world, we live off a very high carb, high sugar diet. Now when I say sugar, I'm not talking about things like fruit or raw honey. I'm talking about heavily processed foods, whether it's things like white flour, bagels, pastries, that kind of thing, or whether it's chocolate and candy or ice cream and donuts, that kind of thing. It's all very sugar rich. And you only have to do a little bit of research to realize that every time you eat processed, as in refined sugar, your testosterone levels drop. So if you do what most people do and you just eat a high sugar diet pretty much every meal of the day, all day long, you can see why it's hard to have high testosterone levels. So the question is, if you shouldn't eat the regular high carb, high sugar diet that most Americans and indeed most people in the Western world eat, what should you eat for overall health and for testosterone levels? Well, it's quite straightforward, but the reality of doing it is somewhat trickier because there's so many temptations out there. There's so many bad foods, junk foods, fake foods, processed foods to tempt us. But in reality, if we want optimal health and performance, we should eat things like organic fruits and vegetables. That's obvious, right? Everybody knows more fruits and vegetables, great. We should eat healthy, mostly organic sources of meat, poultry and fish. So if you're going to eat meat, you want it to be grass-fed organic steak. You want it to be free-range organic chicken. The thing that you don't want to be organic is fish, because that implies that it's been farmed, and farmed fish is never healthy. When it comes to fish, you want wild fish caught in oceans that are as clean as they can be. Notice I say as clean as they can be, not just clean, because none of the oceans are clean anymore. But good examples would be things like wild Alaskan salmon. You can find that in most good supermarkets these days. I went to a local fishmonger recently and I was also able to get wild Atlantic sea bass and wild halibut. Make the best choices you can with regards to meat. The other thing to consider with meat is that if you don't buy the best quality you can, you get like a concentrated second-hand dose of all the antibiotics, steroids and growth hormones and God knows what else they give the animals. So if you eat cheap mass-produced beef, for instance, you will get a concentrated second-hand dose of the steroids, growth hormone and antibiotics that animal ate when it was alive. And you'll also get meat from an animal that was fed on grain instead of grass. So it was fed something that it wasn't supposed to eat. And that changes the whole fatty acid profile of the meat and makes it less healthy from that point of view as well. So you got your fruits and vegetables, you got your best quality meat, poultry and fish. What else? Well, dairy. If you're going to eat dairy, let's make it organic and let's make it raw. I know raw dairy is illegal in certain places in America, but if you can get raw organic dairy, that's the very best. The other thing you must include in your diet is healthy fats. Fats have become demonized in recent years. But guess what happened when the American government changed its food pyramid to tell people to eat more carbohydrates and less fats? People got fat. A lot of people have this idea that if you eat fat, you'll get fat. It's not true. For many people, eating too many carbohydrates is the real problem. That's why they're 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 300 pounds overweight. They eat too many high-carb, sugary foods, and they eat too many processed foods that have trans fats in them. Those are like the bad fats, the unhealthy fats. But healthy fats, in their natural organic state, are supremely healthy for your body and actually vital to testosterone production. So you want to include in your diet organic nuts and seeds. You want to include fatty animal foods like grass-fed organic steak and wild Alaskan salmon. You want to include eggs and make sure you eat the egg yolk because the egg yolk has the healthy fat, plus it has all the nutrients. You want to eat coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil. You may want to supplement with pharmaceutical grade fish oil. Those kind of things you want to include in the diet. And the great thing about healthy fats is that that's where the taste is. If you think about an egg white tastes of nothing. It's incredibly boring. Try making an egg white omelette and you won't really be very excited about eating it. But you make an omelette with the whole egg and it's much tastier because the fat has the taste. The other thing you might want to include in your diet, although you don't have to, is healthy carbohydrates that are more grain-based. So it could be rice, it could be whole wheat bread, it could be quinoa, it could be couscous. but you've got to make sure it's organic and the best quality you can find. We're not talking about white refined flour. In fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in his book that he wrote years ago when he was a bodybuilder called the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, he said that white flour was white death. Because he knew, even back then, he knew what white flour did to the body. And yet, what do people do? They eat white flour all day long. They have white bread for breakfast. They have it toasted. They have white bread or some sort of white flour bread type product for lunchtime. They have a sandwich made out of it. Maybe in the afternoon, they snack on a pastry that's made of white flour. Maybe in the evening, they avoid white flour, but maybe not. Maybe they have a dessert, some kind of cake afterwards that has white flour in it. So avoid that type of grain. You want the healthy grains. So, to recap, if you want your testosterone levels to be as good as possible, you've got to put good food in your mouth, you've got to put good fuel in. You want to avoid the processed diet that most people eat, which is high in carbohydrate, high in refined sugar, high in trans fats. You want to eat organic fruits and vegetables. You want to eat the best meat, poultry, dairy, and fish that you can find. You want to eat a lot of healthy fats, because healthy fats are actually one of the things necessary for your body to build a lot of testosterone, so you need healthy fats. If you eat a diet, even if it's made up of great food choices, but you eat a diet that's very low in fat, it'd be very hard for you to have high testosterone levels. And you want to eat carefully selected carbohydrates in the form of grains if you choose to have them at all. You don't necessarily need to. A lot of people, especially if they don't exercise, if they're not very active, don't need any more carbohydrate other than fruits and vegetables, and maybe some raw organic honey or organic maple syrup. And of course, the other thing you should do is you should drink our ManT Rock Hard formula, which is the superherb formula I created with Owen Robinson, the co-founder of the New Alpha. And it's a Chinese herbal formula, well, an East Asian herbal formula, using superherbs that have been used by the East Asians for 2,000 to 6,000 years, mixed in very specific quantities. And all you do is you take 2 teaspoons of Rock Hard formula every day, add it to a smoothie, sprinkle it over your breakfast cereal, put it in a soup, whatever you want, or do it the traditional way, make it like instant coffee. 2 teaspoons of the powder, stir it with hot water, drink it, dead simple. And it will boost your testosterone levels like you wouldn't believe. Honestly, I take Rock Hard formula before I do my strength training because I find it makes me more anabolic, it makes me more aggressive, it makes me stronger. I'll put a link somewhere below this video where you can go to look up Rock Hard formula, or you can go to thenewalpha.com and simply type Rock Hard formula into the search bar and find it that way. But Rock Hard formula is really good, you should try it. At the moment, for reference, I use it like this. I take Rock Hard formula before my workouts in a smoothie for breakfast. I do my workout about 7:30 in the morning. About an hour after my workout, I have another smoothie, another shake. I put Go All Night formula in that one, because Go All Night's more about recovery and energy. Rock Hard formula, more about testosterone. So that's just a little secret into how I'm using it, and I really feel strong and energized using it that way. Rock Hard formula before exercise, Go All Night after exercise. Rock Hard formula for testosterone, Go All Night for recovery. And indeed energy, both inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom.